These aren't headlines. Jon Jones coming out and telling Schmo, I'm not retired, or Jon Jones telling Helen the night before, I am retired. Neither one of these were headlines. You have to search them out. And what that tells me is that the other writers are in the same spot as I am, which is you can't make any money with Jon. There's no point in putting him in the headlines. There's no point in talking about him. We've got no direction. What are we going to do? We're not going to take a guy at his word, or we're going to take his word, which greatly contradicts the words that he said the night before. It creates a very unusual and difficult position. Dana White came out and spoke about this, and Dana said, man, there's nothing different than it has been in the last 10 years. Dana said, I told Lorenzo a decade ago, we can't make a business off this guy. You can't count on him. When he shows up, is it fun? Sure, but you know the result ahead of time. It's very difficult. But I can't do business with Jon. I don't have a story to tell you. Imagine if I tried. Hey guys, I got a great source on Jon Jones. It's Jon himself. Jon says, and I quote, I'm retired. Hey guys, I got a great source on Jon. As a matter of fact, it was Jon himself. Jon says, might fight again. Oh, by the way, those statements were made 24 hours apart. You're not going to respect that. It's not how men talk.
So Chael Sonnen just spoke about Jon Jones walking back his UFC retirement. And he said that's not how men talk. So is Jon Jones exposed? I mean, Chael Sonnen, he called him out after Jon Jones' shocking retirement flip. So that's kind of what I want to cover for you guys today. I want to talk about Jon Jones and his walking back his whole retirement thing. I mean, he was pissed off at the UFC, pissed off at Dana White. He was pissed off at the world when he found out he wasn't on the UFC Freedom 250 White House card. I mean, Jon Jones is retired, right? Now unretired, and all within less than 24 hours. So now you got Chael Sonnen. He's calling him out, not as a fighter, but as a man. As a man. So let's talk about this, guys. Welcome back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's going on, guys? I'm Shiraz. I'm your host for Duality 7X. Here we try to break down the fight game like never before. Like every other channel that's out there on YouTube, of course, right? We're just trying to do our thing, guys. But look, smash a like and subscribe, hit the notifications so you never miss a beat. But this whole Jon Jones situation, honestly, like, yeah, this looks like it's bigger than it looks. Really, it does. I mean, the question I have, is this really about retirement? Or is this about trust, like power? Like, I mean, what is Jon Jones actually worth to the UFC, like right now? Like, what does the UFC see him as? Do they have a dollar figure associated with him? I mean, I don't know. Like, so let's try to set the stage here for a second, because Jon Jones is a former UFC light heavyweight champion and current heavyweight champion. Guys, all at the same time, man. He walks away from the sport last year. He vacates his title, and then that move, like that's what everyone's talking about, right? I mean, it opened up the door for Tom Aspinall, the interim champion, to finally take over the division. Now, you guys have to understand, you guys got to remember something. Jon Jones has never fought Tom Aspinall. I mean, that fight was sitting right there, biggest fight in the division, and it never happened. Never happened. And that raised an eyebrow. It raised a lot of questions. I was just talking about this with main event bets. We're talking about, I mean, who's next for Jon Jones if he comes back? Is it going to be Tom Aspinall? I don't know. But this is where things start to get a little bit dicey, guys. Look, Jon's kind of all over the place right now, right? I mean, the UFC just announced their huge White House card. You guys know the card. I mean, massive spotlight, guys. It's going to be historic, celebrating America's 250th birthday, President Trump's 80th birthday. And now all of a sudden, Jon Jones is back. I mean, Jon Jones said he was in negotiations. I mean, he wants on the card. That we know. He said he's ready to return. He's on stem cell treatment. He feels better than he's ever felt before. but I mean, here's where the twist comes, right? I mean, Dana White comes out after and says, no, we were never considering Jon Jones. Um, that's false. And if he says he was talking to us, we were talking to everybody. So now you've got two completely different stories, right? Jon Jones claims that he was lowballed for a fight with Alex Pereira because that was a big fight. Alex Pereira vacated his light heavyweight title so he could go for the heavyweight, go to the heavyweight division. Jon Jones couldn't fight Alex Pereira. Now Jon Jones was asking UFC for a release. And just when you think that's the end of it, Jon Jones opens up his own promotion company. And then next thing you know, you're watching him with Gable Stevenson at UFC 327 right there. And now he's saying he's not sure if he's retired anymore, just based on a conversation he had with UFC's Hunter Campbell. And he actually told Hunter Campbell, let's just pause everything for now, guys. Let's just pause everything. Let's wait until this fight and everything, and then we'll talk about it. So where does Chael Sonnen come into all this, right? Chael, he doesn't actually go after Jon Jones as a fighter. I mean, what Chael is trying to do is he's going after something that's a little bit deeper, right? And I mean, essentially, Sonnen is saying that, look, forget the belts, forget the legacy. The question everyone should be asking is, what is Jon Jones' word actually worth? When Jon Jones speaks, what does that mean? How interested or how serious do you take it? Because Jon Jones publicly retired. We know that. It's been established. That's enough to exit the testing pool. And then the very, very next day, guys, all of a sudden he's not retired anymore. He's unretired. That would essentially put him right back into the mix of things. And so Chael Sonnen was calling him out, okay? He was like, look, I'm not digging this. I mean, his reaction, Chael said, look, that was absolutely silly. But I mean, the question really here is that if you're supposed to be the baddest man on the planet, the baddest man in the world, how can anyone trust anything you say? How can anyone trust anything that Jon Jones has to say? Right? I mean, there's been a lot of flip-flopping, a lot of back and forth. Look, I like Jon Jones. I think he is the GOAT. But the story starts to shift a little bit, because when you're starting to look at this from all different angles, I mean, now we're not just talking about wins here, guys. We're talking about losses. We're talking about reliability, accountability. I mean, if you're going to say something, then do it, right? Chael even brought up something about Dana White. I mean, apparently Dana White reportedly said something years ago. He said that the UFC couldn't build a business around Jon Jones. Just think about that. Let that sink in for a second. Even Dana White said that there wasn't even a 1 in a billion chance that Jon Jones is going to return to the UFC, let alone fight on the UFC Freedom 250 White House card. We're talking about one of the greatest fighters of all time, and the promoter himself is saying that his best fighter potentially is one of the hardest fighters to depend on. That is a serious problem. That is an issue, because now in this sport alone, it's not just talent that gets you by. Talent alone is not enough. Talent alone is not enough. Promoters need fighters that they can trust. Promoters need fighters that they can schedule around, and trust to show up when they're supposed to show up, right? So there's a lot of people on different sides, and I wanted to talk about this because I've been talking to a lot of people off the record here, and there's a lot of differing opinions here. And the part that I think where I'm, including myself, kind of missed here a little bit is that this might actually explain why Jon Jones wasn't on the White House card at all. Hey, the same goes for like Conor McGregor, Covington. I mean, this is not about money. This is not about negotiations. It's all about risk at the end of the day, because the last thing Dana White wants to do is put his name on the card and for him to not show up for one reason or another. Because if you're in the UFC, how do you put your biggest stage on someone that you're not 100% sure is going to follow through with what they say. And then what do? You're kind of bottlenecked. You know what I mean? You're in a corner and you can't really get out of it, and everything really hinges on this one particular fighter. So Chael Sonnen actually took it a little bit further because he actually compared Jon Jones to Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Khabib, of course, one of the greatest of all time. I mean, when Khabib retired, people questioned it at first, right? People questioned Khabib's intentions. They started to look at his track record, his history, but deep down there was a lot of respect. And the question that you have to ask yourself is why? Why was there respect when Khabib retired? Because when Khabib said something, he followed through with it. You believed it. You didn't question it because there was no ambiguity, right? It was clear. There was consistency, there was certainty, and like I said, ambiguity, he eliminated any kind of ambiguity, right? With Jon Jones, it's kind of the opposite right now because look, Jon Jones just proved to the entire world that he changes, his opinion. He's unbelievable inside the cage, guys, but outside of the cage, he can be a bit unpredictable, right? And that unpredictability, it starts to lower your leverage because when people because it casts doubt in people's minds. And when they cast doubt on you, they start to not to trust you, right? Because now with every negotiation, now there comes a little bit of element of doubt, right? And this is the business side of things, guys. It sucks sometimes to talk about this. It sucks sometimes to analyze this, to scrutinize this. But I mean, this is where it hits, especially on the business side of things. When it comes to the world of combat sports, especially MMA, UFC, they don't like to take these things lightly. Jon Jones is a massive name, 100%. He is still the main draw, and he's not even fighting. He hasn't even been active for as long as he has. But the value itself in the UFC isn't just necessarily about what you've done, your fame. It's about dependability, accountability. If you can headline a card, then you can commit to a fight, then you can help build months and months of promotion around you by entrusting or having your promoter have trust in you, right? And if you can, then the answer is 100%. Your promoter is going to be behind you, your organization, and it won't let your negotiating power start to slip. But if you can't do that, then the uncomfortable truth here, honestly, is that your promoter is not going to trust you. Therefore, they're not going to put in the legwork, the effort needed to be able to market and hype up your fight. And when the opportunity comes, they may just move right on past you, right? So the whole situation that's unfolding before us right now is really starting to show us something a little bit more important about modern day combat sports. And it gets absolutely interesting, guys, because we're not just talking about one guy. We're talking about the biggest stars right now. They don't just fight opponents. They're actually fighting the business. And right now, and I'll explain, guys, because Jon Jones is in a very, very unique, I was going to say strange, but I'm going to say he's in a very unique position. And he still has the name, but the UFC itself may not fully be willing to invest in him the same way anymore. And that tells you a lot. And it's not because Jon Jones is not talented. It's not because he doesn't have the skill sets. He's 100% talented. He definitely has a skill, but everything is really coming down to trust. The trust factor is no longer there. And so this is what Chael Sonnen was trying to say when Chael says that's not how men are supposed to talk. That he's not just throwing an insult at Jon Jones. He's not just throwing an insult at the situation itself. He's actually pointing out that there's something bigger. Okay? There's something bigger in play here that people are missing. And in this sport, the sport of MMA, in this organization, the world of the UFC, your word matters. Your word 100% matters because at the highest level, trust equates currency. And right now, Jon Jones, one of the most talented fighters to grace MMA, to grace the UFC, all right? one of probably the GOAT. I mean, his legacy is beyond impeccable. But if trust equates currency, then the question is, can the UFC still count on him? Because it doesn't look like he has a lot of currency to back his words up. And this is what's drawing a lot of speculation. It's starting to catch a lot of people's attention. But I mean, this is Chael Sonnen's opinion, his view. But is Chael right here? I want to hear from you guys. Is Chael Sonnen right here, or is Jon Jones just really a mastermind and better at playing this game better than anyone else? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on this, guys, because I have to know. I'm curious. I'm a fan, guys. I'm a fan of mixed martial arts. I'm a fan of the UFC. I'm a fan of Jon Jones. I'm a fan of all these guys, and I need to know. I need to know what you guys think. I need to know what's actually going on because I was absolutely puzzled. Jon Jones, 1 minute, is talking about how he's looking at coming back to the UFC. He's training. He's getting ready. He's doing all the necessary things that he needs to do to come back to the UFC in time potentially for the UFC White House card, the UFC Freedom 250 White House card. So we all started buying into it. We got excited. Jon Jones was also, there was a couple of videos of him talking about how he's got all this arthritis in his legs and his knees are shot, his legs are shot. And that scared Dana White. That actually scared him. Dana White actually talked about that in one of his post-fight conferences where somebody asked him about Jon Jones and stuff. And Dana White said there's not even a 1 in a billion chance that he's going to bring back Jon Jones. 1 in a billion chance. He's not just talking about a random BC class fighter. He's talking about one of the greatest fighters to have ever graced the cage, to have ever graced the octagon, a man who's won titles for the UFC, a man who's arguably one of the greatest of all time fighters. And Dana White's like, there's not even a 1 in a billion chance he's going to come to the UFC. And then somebody asked, well, Jon Jones has reportedly been on social media, on X and other social media, telling everybody that he's been negotiating with the UFC and things are going great. And Dana White's like, I'm not going to hide the fact that we're not talking to Jon Jones. Of course we're talking to Jon Jones, but guess what? We talk to everybody. We're talking to all the fighters. And then he said, no, Jon Jones is not going to be on this card. And then Dana White releases the card. And guess what? No Jon Jones. Everybody thought that ever since Alex Pereira vacated his light heavyweight title, which you guys just recently seen this past weekend, Yuri Prochazka and Carlos Ulberg fought for it, for the vacant light heavyweight title. Carlos Ulberg got the better of the two. He became the new light heavyweight champion. And Alex Pereira relinquished his title because he wanted to do one thing. He wanted to move to heavyweight. And as soon as he did that, coincidentally, that was the same time Jon Jones came on social media to tell everybody he's been negotiating with the UFC. So naturally, the speculation just burst out of everywhere. The internet started to break down and have a field day with this. And myself, including umpteens of thousands of other people, thought the same thing, that let's put two and two together. Alex Pereira vacates his title, moves from light heavyweight to heavyweight. Jon Jones is in negotiations again with the UFC about a possible comeback. Jon Jones is a heavyweight. Alex Pereira now heavyweight. UFC Freedom 250 White House card on June 14th. That would make the most perfect sense. And then when Dana White releases the card, guess what? Guess who's not on there? Jon Jones is not on the card. Neither was Conor McGregor. You heard about Conor McGregor's comeback returns. You talked to Conor McGregor even walked away from becoming Ireland's next president. That was one of his goals, his dreams, to become a president of Ireland. But he kind of walked that back. He's like, it's not for me right now. He goes, I really want to focus my efforts on coming back to MMA, coming back to the UFC. And so we all thought that Conor McGregor was going to be on the UFC Freedom 250 White House card. And then you had Covington, Kobe Covington. I mean, this guy walks around with the MAGA hat. He's got Old Glory behind him. Everywhere he goes, comes out to Kurt Angle's music. And he's a big-time Trump fan, Trump supporter, and he's friends with President Trump. Colby Covington was not even on the card. Go figure. So a lot of surprises, a lot of shocks, a lot of twists and turns. And then you just see Jon Jones very upset, beside himself. He was not happy. Almost looked very, very grumpy. Went on social media, called out Dana White, called out the UFC. Very disappointed. He says, "Look, if you're not going to use me, release me." That's what Jon Jones said. He said, "Release me." And the next thing you know, Jon Jones opens up his own promotional company and his own fighting company. He got licensed in DC. And then just like that, UFC 327, guess who's there? Jon Jones sitting right next to Gable Stevenson. He's going to be in Gable's corner for his upcoming fight. And Jon Jones was there. He goes, you know what? I had he goes, I had a great conversation with Hunter Campbell of the UFC. This is a guy who carries a lot of clout. This is a guy who gets things done. Big time negotiation, dealer. He knows how to make a trade. He knows how to make deals. He's a business. He's a first class deal maker. And he's talking with Jon Jones, and Jon Jones was super elated about that conversation. He said it went very well. But then Jon Jones himself also said, but I told Hunter, let's just pause things for now about a possible return. I want to focus on this fight upcoming with Gable, helping Gable with his fight. And then after that, let's see how the UFC Freedom 250 White House card pans out. And then maybe we can talk about it. And a lot of people are like, is Jon Jones ducking? Because Jon Jones, is he just waiting to see what happens with Alex Pereira and Cyril Gane in their upcoming fight, and how Alex actually performs? Let's just hypothetically say if Alex Pereira beats Cyril Gane, then could there be a possibility that Alex Pereira and Jon Jones are going to fight? But depends on how Alex performs. What if he doesn't do that great of a job? What if it takes some let's just say even Alex won by unanimous decision, but it was kind of very close. Maybe that's a fight that Jon Jones takes. I don't know. This is what some people are telling me. Some people are saying that Jon Jones wants to see how Alex does before he actually commits to wanting to come back. If Alex doesn't do that great of a job, does that mean Jon Jones will want to come back because he thinks he's not going to get hurt as much, or he'll have an easier time potentially against a guy he didn't really see a lot of promise in? Or does he want to take on Cyril Gane, perhaps? Or does he not want to take? I don't know. So the question's out, guys. Honestly, I don't know what he wants to do. I really don't. All we know is that the last thing that Jon Jones said is that he was offered $15 million, an 8-figure deal to fight, essentially to come back and fight Alex Pereira. And he turned it down. He said, no, I'm worth more than $15 million. And I mean, that's a lot of money to turn down, but the UFC said, okay, fine. You know what? We're walking past Jon Jones. And now there's no indication that he might be returning, at least anytime soon. And remember, guys, Jon Jones is 38 years old. He's getting older. So when does he want to come back? When he's 40? If he's going to take this fight on with Pereira, Pereira's getting up there in age as well, too. They got to do this now. They got to do this year. And obviously, they can't do it at UFC Freedom 250 because Pereira's already taken on Cyril Gane. So it's got to be sometime, perhaps maybe in September, maybe October, maybe even November or December. But I'm curious to see how this pans out, guys. But again, Chael Sonnen just went after Jon Jones, and he said that's not what men do. So he was very, very disappointed in Jon Jones. Needless to say, I want to hear your thoughts, your comments, because I'm going to respond to those. And guys, we're doing some incredible things here at YouTube. We're going to come out with some membership plans, so you guys can have exclusive access. At least the members will have exclusive access to like some videos and all kinds of cool things that we're going to do that are going to be exclusively for members only. But of course, we'll still be pumping out these videos for everybody else, and hopefully we do enough to be able to bring you guys on board as members. We've got some really cool merchandise that's coming out. You've probably seen some of the shirts that I've been rocking and stuff. I went to Japan and I got so many comments, lots of comments on our Japanese logo. It looks freaking amazing, guys. But I'm super excited to share that with you guys. Lots of exciting things happening with the channel. We're at about 6,400 plus subscribers. Help us get to 10,000. Help us get to 100. Help us get to 1,000,000. But all this couldn't happen without you. So if you guys like the content, please smash a like and subscribe. Hit the notifications so you guys never miss a beat. And before I leave, YouTube thinks you would like one of these two videos. Pick and choose, guys, or watch them both. They're both absolutely incredible. And I look forward to catching you guys in tomorrow's video.